Hey, this is Sandy,
And Randy.
and we're here on AT Corner.
Being an athletic trainer comes with ups and downs, and we're here to showcase them all.
Join us as we share our world in sports medicine.
Welcome back to another episode of AT Corner. This is episode number 35.
Can you believe that?
Holy moly. What do we got today?
Today we're talking about working with patients. No, we're not.
Actually, I think these stories can make you work with patients. Just a different type of patience.
There you go. Today we're talking about parents.
Okay, I'm sure we have some interesting stories.
Well, you know, when you work with minors, it means you work with parents. So,
Ooh, that can be rough at times, but also rewarding in other times.
actually, we've got a really good mix of good and bad.
You know what? I could see that. There are some parents that can be difficult to work with and some that probably make the job a little easier.
Oh, yeah, definitely. And at the end, we're actually going to be showing some ways to show worth to the parents of your patients.
Ooh, that's a big deal, especially when we talk about youth sports.
Oh,
Good.
especially.
Yes, because that is an area that athletic training is still trying to, get a solid foothold in, and one of the biggest advocates for change would be the parents.
That's very true. So you want to go ahead and jump into the stories?
I think it's time to jump in the pool.
So this one's anonymous. I had a baseball player take a pop fly to the zygomatic bone during warm-ups. First of all, ouch.
Well, what a way to start during warm-ups. You know what? I have had a few athletes injure themselves during warm-ups, so it doesn't surprise me.
He had a few concussion symptoms and his eye was swollen with mild tenderness to palpation, as expected. But he still had his vision.
Ooh, always good.
Yeah, very. The head coach contacted the mom. I talked to her as well, and she was a nurse. That could be good or bad.
I know. I'm waiting to see how this story develops.
Okay, wait. Really fast. How do you think this is going to end? Good or bad? Do you think the mom's going to be good or bad?
I'm kind of leaning towards bad. I hate to think that way, but I feel like it's gonna.
I explained all symptoms, and she was comfortable with just coming to get him. Also, none of us thought that EMS was warranted, and his house was about 45 minutes from us.
Seems reasonable. Yeah.
I continued neural watch until she got there. There was no change. He did keep trying to watch the game out of the other eye, so both started having some nystagmus. Other than that, no new anything since the initial eval. When she got there, she flew hot.
Oh, no.
She was screaming and cussing that I should have activated EMS and that this was life-threatening and on, and that she was taking him to the ER right away. You were right.
You know what? I had a vibe.
I apologized, gave her my contact info if the ER doc wanted to know what happened. Also, I didn't say this in the beginning, but this is a visiting team.
Oh, even better.
Yeah. I mean,
even better.
At least with a visiting team, you can
You don't have to see those people again.
Yeah, you can send them away. So she said once the game wrapped up, one of the other moms approached me and told me thank you for looking out for him. So we do have a good parent in here.
Yeah, see, this story had a good mix.
I asked if she had any updates. She said no, they haven't even gotten to the hospital yet. And the hospital they chose is an hour and a half away.
Okay, that's
But remember, the mom cussed me out because it was life-threatening.
So they could wait for the hospital that's an hour and a half away.
Yeah, she literally said this to me. You could be the reason he dies tonight.
Wow.
And then drove him to a hospital an hour and a half away when our local hospital is 5 minutes from our high school.
Holy moly. So first of all, there's a little bit disproportionate from the response or from the reaction to the response by the mom. Also, can you imagine how devastating that would be to hear, even though it's not really true in this case, like to have someone tell you that?
Oh, yeah. So this person said, I texted his home AT, and he says that she does that kind of thing all the time, even with the most minor things.
Of course. Just wait if this kid gets to college and is playing athletics. The university staff is definitely not going to be cool with that.
No. I mean, at least he'll be 18.
I feel like this mom won't care.
Oh, we have a story about that, actually.
Oh, even better. Good segue. Without even knowing, guys. We're on the same page.
I think starting off with this story, you just have to remember not to take it personally. That's so hard to do in the moment, too.
Well, and I don't know the context of where she was in her career or anything, but like imagine being newly certified.
Oh,
This
that's
is your
so
first
rough.
job and that's what you're told? Oh, man.
That's a really good way to doubt yourself.
Oh, big time.
I mean, okay, actually, these next two are both from Kiera L, and one of them's good and one of them's bad. And just remember that this is the exact same AT in both stories. So,
All right, here we go.
do you want to start with good or bad?
Let's start bad so we can end on good.
Okay. So she said, awful parent story. I was on the field for a football practice with sports medicine student when a mom came walking straight towards me. Oh, that's bad.
Yeah, that always makes you concerned.
Both her walk and her face were angry. Oh, see?
When the walk is described as angry, you know something not good is happening.
I was bracing myself for what was about to come. She came over and started cussing me, saying it was ridiculous her son couldn't play in Friday's game. It was so bad that a coach came over and escorted her off the field. Hey, at least the coach had her back.
Yeah, that's true. That's very true.
Yeah, that's really nice.
How did she get on the field?
Honestly, she's so mad that her son couldn't play in the game. You know what that makes me think of? Like, some of these parents are just living vicariously through their kid. And I wonder
so
sometimes,
true.
like, does the kid want to play that badly? Or
Probably
or is
not.
it you?
It's probably them. I mean, I don't know how it is in like other states, but I know like high school football in California is really not like, it's a stepping stone for kids, but it is not like life or death. So there's times that kids are forced into football because their parents played it in high school and wanted their kids to do it. But you can tell the kids, they don't care about being there.
Oh, that youth football that I worked was like, they were all going to the NFL.
Of course. Every single one is.
So again, Kiera said, awesome parent story. On the other hand, she had a player who had an eyebrow laceration, so I did my thing. Concussion check and steri strips. The athlete went in to see his doctor, and the mom came back to find me the next day to pass along the message that the doctor thought the steri strips were done so well that he didn't even redo them.
Ah, nice. That's awesome.
That's so awesome that like the mom actually took time out of her day to go.
To do that.
Yeah. I mean, that's a really good way to show your worth. And that's the thing, is she didn't have to talk to her at all. She just showed how great an AT she is.
Yeah.
And how much an AT can make a difference.
Oh, absolutely. I think, not to get a little off topic here, because when Sandra first asked me if I had any parent stories, and I really don't to my memory.
I mean, you haven't worked with parents as long as I've really known your
Yeah, because I mostly work college, so I don't really interact with the parents. But, every now and then, I see the parents of my athletes and, I'll introduce myself or they'll say hi or they'll be like, oh, this person talks about you. And then I always throw the same joke like, well, I hope it's good. But anywho, there's my one athlete that I had who I talked to his mom multiple times because she was at the track meets when something happened to her son. Like something happened where I had to check on him and she would ask me or whatever. But this one, it got to the point where I went up to her. I saw her one time, like at the track meet. I said, it's kind of nice talking to you without having bad news for you or like having to tend to your son. And it was pretty funny.
That is really funny. I mean, sometimes it feels like that, right?
It really does. I have to say that to the coaches sometimes. It's like, I'm not trying to every interaction be bad news.
So the next one is actually anonymous. It's a cute little short one. So this person said that they texted a parent a few weeks ago about a girl who had sprained her ankle so that she could send her a home exercise program. It turns out mom and dad own a PT clinic.
Nice.
I think that girl's covered.
Oh, absolutely. So we also have another anonymous one. I was new to the school last year and helped this one football kid with a shoulder injury one time. It was nothing major, but I never heard the end of it from his dad.
Okay, pause. Do you think this is good or bad?
Okay, starting off bad.
Yeah, if you never hear
Yeah,
the end
I was
of it
going
from
to
your
say,
dad.
I feel like this is starting off bad, but I feel like it could be a twist and it's going to be good. All right, here we go. All good things, though.
Hey, there you go.
There you go. See, that was a quick twist. The AT before me was not the best. Never heard a good word about him or her from any athletes, coaches, or parents. So I think Dad was relieved that I wasn't like him or her. Every time he saw me, which was often, he volunteered to help sports a lot. He told me how grateful he was that I was there and that the kids were very lucky to have me. He even would tell the athletes that they should appreciate me more. I miss that guy.
I would too.
I was going to say, that makes that guy very missable when he's not there.
That's the funny thing about, just the high school in general. A lot of times you're the only AT. And so you
Yes.
play such a big role in the school.
Yes, not even just from the fact that you take care of these kids and then, their injuries and stuff like that. You're also a role model. You're helping shape what they're going to be in the future.
When I was working at the high school, everyone knew me. I felt like a celebrity.
That's
because it was 8-man football.
Yes.
So it was so fast paced, and I don't know if you guys are familiar with 8-man football, but basically everyone plays every position.
Yes, because the teams are not very big, hence why they only have 8-man football.
And so then you don't have time, like if someone comes off for offense, guess what? They're going on for defense. So like you don't have time in between to really do as much as you would with like a normal 11-man. So anyway, also it's high school, so man, these kids, I was on the field like every third or fourth play.
And not every high school is like a pipeline to D1 athletes, so some kids are not as athletic as you would hope.
We actually had a team, it was homecoming. We had a team who forfeited because they had too many injuries at halftime. They didn't have enough to play. So all the parents knew me and they would always joke that I was getting more of a workout than the kids were.
Yes, absolutely.
I had all good experiences there though.
That's true.
Okay, here's I don't even know what this one is.
Well, it looks like it's in red ink, so I feel like it's bad.
I wrote it in red.
Okay.
It's from Kiera.
So, Kiera K says, one time I had a mom hysterical.
All caps.
Hysterical. Over the phone with me while I was in bed.
Oh, what timing?
Because her son, over the age of 18,
This is the one I was talking about.
broke his foot and we didn't call her.
Well, why didn't you call her? Maybe because he's not a minor.
Yeah, HIPAA. The hippo is in the water. She screamed at me for 30 minutes and would get so hysterical she would start laughing and then sobbing and right back into yelling.
I think that mom needs some help.
She proceeded to call me daily to ask about her son, but made me promise to lie to him that she hadn't been in communication with me. Literal helicopter parent of a 19-year-old self-sufficient kid. Thankfully, I am a relatively soothing and patient person, so I just listened, but she was nuts.
Kiera, I have no clue how you dealt.
Yep, that takes a lot of patience. I know I wouldn't have the patience. I'm a patient person.
No,
but
you're not.
I am in general, but when it comes to dealing with parents, I am not very patient because I don't... Where I work is I shouldn't be dealing with parents. So when I have to deal with them, it's...
I know, that sounds like her situation.
Yes, I would not be okay with that situation.
Yeah, I don't know how you did. Also, like daily.
Daily.
And then, just like block a number.
And then have to lie to the... Like, what is the situation?
Oh my gosh. It's kind of like, remember when I was doing a scat for a kid, and then the dad was standing behind him like telling me all this information about how doing a scat for concussions is a scam and there's no reason to do it on his kid?
Yeah, I'm speechless by some of the antics some parents are
Actually,
up to.
I had a dad who was a coach. This just reminded me of this. And we were doing a concussion eval on his kid who was on the team. And the dad was standing behind me trying to give his kid the answers.
Oh my goodness. Okay, like what if that worked, right? What if that worked and you're like, "Oh, well, you're good even if he has symptoms, he can't play anyways." And the next play, something like, second impact syndrome happens.
They don't think that far.
They don't
Randy.
think that far. But then guess whose fault that is?
Well, honestly, we just had to ask him to leave, but that's just frustrating.
Oh, big
like
time.
that you have to even take that step.
Oh, big time. And it's pretty bad when in situations like that where you have more sense of well-being for their child than they do.
Yeah, I wonder about that sometimes.
Like that That, I think the part's shocking.
It's the parents who want to live through their kids.
Yes.
Who wants to be on the field more?
Exactly.
Oh, yeah, and he would say things like, back in my day, we would count how many scratches we had on our helmets, and the person with the longest streak would win.
See, that's what cracks me up, is because everyone tries to, oh, well, back in my day. Okay, as a society, I feel like we should progress and not just stay in the same place. Like, I feel like that makes no sense.
You know what's like the easiest thing for me is like, because we live in California, we have that law that basically says if you're being evaluated for a concussion, you can't return the same day. So it makes like it's so easy, such an easy decision for us because like we can't go above the law, right? Yes. I don't know how it is in other states. I would actually be interested to know that.
Yeah, that's true. But also to counter the, well, back in my day, well, back in your day, ACLs were almost career ending. Would you like to go back to that? Like, I don't understand that logic.
There's nothing to understand. Okay, here's a good story. So this one's from Curtis, and he said, I had a parent stop me following a girl's playoff soccer game and thank me for helping his kids. He shook my hand and placed a $100 bill in my hand.
Okay, I want to see where this goes first before I comment.
So I asked him if, were you just working? Like, how often did you work with her? Or, like, did you know the family? Or, like, I want to know more about this, right?
Yeah.
And he said, I actually worked with her older brother the most. He's a couple years older and suffered a shoulder dislocation in freshman football that led to a lot of instability despite surgical repair.
Ooh, that's a bummer.
So that brought him into the ATR frequently. So, like, that makes sense. It's kind of cool when you get to...
Yeah, that's pretty cool. It was a tip, not a bribe. That's why I wanted to hear more.
I was going to ask, is that what you're waiting for?
Yes, no, that's really awesome.
I always wonder, like, I've seen some forums about that, like, people don't really know, like, should they tip us? But that's such a weird thing. Like,
that's pretty weird. I don't know. I'd feel weird.
I would feel weird.
Yeah.
But I guess, like, $100 is not really a tip. It's a gift.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, there's, like, that fine... I mean, we were just watching House the other day, and, like, that's when, like, the mob guy gave House a car.
Now, mind you, this is not our first time watching House, so we're not behind, like, late to the game. We just wanted to rewatch it. At least I did. Fun fact, that House helped me study for the BOC.
You know what helped me study for the BOC?
Getting a dog.
Yeah, guys, we got a puppy right when I started studying for my BOC.
Yes, we did. You know what the crazy thing is, though? About, like, you'd be like, oh, well, that makes sense that watching House would help with BOC stuff. But then you're kind of like, oh, well, it's not like it's really going to help you with answers. False. There was one question on the BOC that I answered because of House.
Well, do you remember what it was?
It was something about pregnancy. I can't remember what it is, but I did answer it correctly because of House, or at least I think I did.
Yeah, I guess you don't really get answers on that. Honestly, I think we could do a whole episode on BOC stories because...
I feel like that will be coming in the future.
Maybe we should write that down. All right, next story?
Yes.
This one's from Leslie C.
I had an athlete at a high school football game get injured, and we were spine boarding him. Then his mom runs out of the stands screaming and yelling, then faints on the sidelines. So we had to spine board her sons and had the team doc attend to his mom.
Fun.
It makes the situation worse because now the team doc, instead of helping with the spine boarding process and, guiding the paramedics, EMTs that are all there helping with this process, now has to attend to the mom.
Okay, but here's the thing. Like, you also have to look at the parents' perspective. Their kid's getting spine boarded. Like, I am not telling you that when your kid gets spine boarded, you should scream and yell. However...
Yes, there should be concern, but also a trust that they got it.
What if the parent doesn't know what we do? That's very common.
Well, yes, and that's the hard part of California, but...
Well, not just in California. That happens everywhere.
That's true. But I feel like the lack of knowledge about ATs is a big issue here compared to other states.
Okay, yes. But in any state, if my kid was getting spine boarded, even as an athletic trainer, like, I would be concerned.
I would be concerned, but I wouldn't try and run out there because...
Yeah, but that's you. That, like...
But that's what I'm saying is it's now you have to worry about someone else when if she went down there getting the information and not trying to be around the situation. I feel like there should be more trust in the staff to not be hysterical in that way.
I don't think you can control that.
I mean, maybe you can't. I'm just saying that's the thing. Like, it's the reason why, like, when you're at the ER, they'll pull you out if you get out of control because then it can get in the way.
Well, that's what had to happen.
And then it took resources away.
I mean, yeah, we're not like running a hospital on the sideline. But, I mean, here's the thing is like, my bottom line is like, the parent should not have been hysterical. However, I don't know how much she can control that.
But that's what makes it frustrating.
Oh yeah, I'm not saying that this is not frustrating.
It's not, but that's why you
definitely
that's why you practice it. Like you just assume the parents are going to go crazy because it is a scary thing. I'm not saying it's not. It's just it would be nice. I mean, I'm not going to run into the mechanics hysterical because my car is like all messed up trying to tell them how to do their job or not be.
You didn't birth your car.
I know. I had to think of an example because I'm going to trust the staff that is there to handle that.
That's you.
I know. I'm just saying that's what makes that like that's what it should be like. You should be able to have trust in
a perfect world.
In a perfect world.
And that's why we have these crazy stories like this next one. That's like
it's labeled as insane.
I've labeled it as insane. And so did Jordan. She said, "This story is the most mad I've ever been in my AT career." So, football game, athlete hurts his shoulder, so I'm doing my sideline assessment, but it's almost half. And the stands to the sideline is super close. So I'm like, okay, let's just do this in the locker room where it's private. So he and I head inside. It's an away game, so we're using the opposing AT's office, doing a few special tests, but based on the objective, it looks like something to do with the AC joint. But I'm definitely not noting anything that I'd consider a fracture based on my testing. If anything, it may be an avulsion, but I'm not seeing deformity like a fracture. Also, that'd be a really weird place.
Yes.
Opposing AT is much older than me. He does teach in the program I graduated from, of course. So he comes in, takes a single look at my athlete and goes, "Oh yeah, that's broken." And my athlete gave me this look. And it's like the little emoji with like the big eyes and like
just what you wanted.
Oh, and then he just broke down in tears. Dude, come on. You should know that by now. Yeah. That's not how you approach that situation.
Not cool.
I assured him that she can't know definitively without an x-ray. So I packed him up in a sling, ace bandage, and ice, talked to his parents, and gave them my impression. They decided to let him stay for the next half because he wanted to, and it didn't hurt that bad. That's cool.
Nice.
They would drive him home instead of getting on the bus. That sounds like a good option, too.
Yeah.
We got an appointment the next day, which was Saturday, to our ortho urgent care clinic. But as I continue to watch the game and keep an eye on him, I see someone come down and start talking to him. That's super weird that they can just access the field.
Yeah, I've never been in a situation where there's this much access.
Well, the high school that I worked at,
yes, I know.
It didn't have stands yet because they were still building. So we just had the field, and so people had to sit on like this big dirt mound. And so like I had parents coming every single time I had an injury, practically.
Yeah.
Like to my table, which was across the field.
Yeah. You know what's funny is I worked track for a long time.
Where the parents are right next to you.
And I've never had someone approach me.
Yeah, but you also work with D1 college.
I know, I'm just saying. I was just thinking that's kind of weird. Like, that's literally the place where they could have all the access. And I never once had someone, like while I was evaling someone, come up to me.
That's nice. Anyway, so she said, I didn't recognize them, so I just assumed it was a parent. Never assume, y'all. This person proceeds to start to remove the ace wrap and ice. And so I see this and I beeline it to them. That sucks because it's during the game.
Yep.
I ask, what's going on? And the person said, I'm a family friend. I'm a therapist, so I'm just going to see what's going on. So I replied, I really would appreciate if she didn't because it wasn't her place to provide care. And also I asked her what kind of therapist she was. She sat down next to my athlete and put her hands on both sides of his shoulder, massaging him and saying things like, oh yeah, okay, no more ice. The ice is bad for you. And I'm like, okay, you need to stop. I do not know who you are or your credentials. Therefore, you do not have the right to put your hands on any of these kids. And apparently, this woman was a family friend reflexologist.
Of course.
Who they called to come see him. So, of course, like, she's not at the game, right?
Yeah.
Even with the consent of the parents, I was not letting this fly. They can do this on their own time, despite it being pretty dangerous since we don't know what's going on. Which, I mean, yeah, like, totally, the parents have whatever, they can do whatever they want, but not, like, at the game where it's my territory.
And again, this person went on the field to do this.
Yeah, that's like, not cool. I tried to get my AD involved, but he was a pretty passive guy, so he didn't use his position like I needed him to, and it really bothered me. This was my first year, so him and I were still trying to figure each other out. Eventually, he came around and realized that I knew my stuff, which is pretty cool.
Yes.
Okay, it only gets weirder. After this game, this woman continues to contact me, leaving me long voicemails about how she works with the Patriots and that she loves sports medicine and that she can teach me all of these things and teach me about when to use ice. Oh my gosh. So this lady, this is what I was confused about. So she's talking all about how like she shouldn't use ice right now, but then like she's saying that now she can teach her about when to use ice.
Of course.
All right. So my idea is like, she's nuts, but we have to have a meeting saying basically unequivocally she cannot come onto our sidelines and interact with our athletes. She shows up to the meeting hammered, decked out in all women's Patriots gear, like bedazzled leggings,
oh no,
a zip up, and a Patriots hat. Okay, like
that's a fan. That's not someone who works. I guarantee you, someone who works with them would not show up like that.
No, especially not bedazzled like that. You're not going to get that from the team.
No.
She is slurring her words, getting extremely aggressive, and then starts crying. Yeah, very professional.
This is so weird.
It was to this day the weirdest encounter I've ever had professionally and afterwards. And the athlete, after all of that, just had a pec strain that had partial tears, which is why the clavicle AC joint looked elevated. He healed up great, plays college football, and we still stay in touch.
Oh, man. Oh, boy. Remember when we talk about staying in lanes?
Oh, this lady is all over.
All over the track. In everybody's lane.
Oh, yeah. I'm glad that they figured that out.
Yes. I'm glad that there had to be a meeting.
That is so just, like, bizarre.
Bizarre.
I don't even know how to follow that up.
I don't think you can. After that.
So these next two are actually, like, not the parent stories that we have kind of been talking about before. So, like, this next one from Bill, he wrote into us saying that he was lucky to have his daughter be a player for him last year at Upland High School. So
that's really cool.
Yeah, so Bill's an athletic trainer. He's one of Randy's mentors. And so his daughter is one of his patients at the school.
That's pretty unique. And I know, like, we talked about this the other day, that's kind of a big deal for, some athletic trainers that, that's a goal for them is to be at the high school that their kid's at, just to be there.
I know, that's pretty cool. I wonder how often that actually happens. Also, they said this is like a bucket list item. They also got to win a CIF Division I Girls Soccer State Regional Championship.
It makes it even better.
Twin rings.
I was going to say, when you can bring home some championships.
That's really, really cool.
That is cool.
Hashtag girl dad.
If we have daughters, I'm using that.
Using what?
Hashtag girl dad.
That's like a trend going on right now.
Okay, but we don't have daughters right now. So I'll make it a trend then.
Our dog is a daughter.
That is true.
A dogter.
Yes, that's true.
Okay, so this next one's really, really cool. It's kind of like a parent in a different sense. So it's from James P. And he basically said, I was working a girls' soccer game and one of my players had with her one of those life baby dolls that she had to take care of for a class.
Nice.
It was for a grade, so she couldn't leave it at home. Well, it came time for her to go into the game, so she asked me to take care of the doll until she got back. She handed me the digital bracelet and the doll and ran into the game.
Nice. And you know what's funny is that doesn't really change. Like, that's the reality of it is. Like, if you have someone that's, in college that has a child, sometimes you might have to take on babysitting duties for a brief minute.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but I thought this was really cool because it showed the bond between
Yes.
you and your athletes. And also he sent in a picture, so we're going to actually put that in our Facebook group.
Nice.
Yeah. So the last thing that we want to do is a lot of people actually did submit like how to show worth as an AT to the parents of your patients. So we're just going to go through some of those. You want to read some?
Yeah. So I think a big one is showing that you care for their child, like it's your own child.
And when they aren't there.
Yeah. And I think that's huge because, and we think about it from like a financial standpoint, imagine how much you're saving the parents by providing initial care. Like whether it's like from the high school, because that would mean they'd have to go to the doctor, pay a copay, and then go to their PT clinic, pay a copay for however many visits, when some high schools offer all that right there, no charge. That's crazy.
Yeah, and depending on like if you're contracted to the high school or through the high school or however that's working, like if you're there once a week or if you're there every single day, that's a huge impact that you're creating on that kid.
Absolutely.
And that probably at the high school, that is a lot of times a kid's first impression of an athletic trainer.
Oh, big time. Big time.
So you've got a really big role. And for the parents, probably unless the parents knew what athletic trainers were they played sports themselves.
Yes.
Probably their first interaction as well. A lot of people also talked about how they communicate with the parents and the patients. They're getting their parents involved and being open with the patients about the parent involvement. And I think that's huge because you can't just go behind someone's back and call their parent.
Yeah.
That doesn't really create very good trust.
Yeah. And also just, again, think about it from the standpoint of more than likely if you call your high school, your child's athletic trainer, they're probably going to get back to you really quickly. Even now, I've had athletes call like a doctor's office for information that, I had questions about, but obviously because of HIPAA, they may not, tell me. So I had the athlete do it and they would leave a message and it's been almost a week and haven't heard back from the office. And that's another thing is where, that's another service we provide.
A lot of people also said education on how you can help your child. We kind of talked about that already. Providing at-home injury instruction sheets. That's really helpful. I kind of like you were talking about the mechanic thing. I kind of like a mechanic analogy as well for some things like this because when I go to the mechanic, that's not my strong suit. Like I don't know everything that's going on with my car, right? So when someone's able to explain to me how to take care of my car and how to move forward and make sure that everything's safe, that makes me feel better knowing that they're the expert in that.
Yes.
And so when you guys are able to explain the injury in terms that they can understand and really involve the parents and educate them, I think that shows a lot of worth as an athletic trainer.
Yeah.
And then the last two that we got were just being prepared in general, which is just great advice.
Yes.
And then also dressing professionally.
Yeah, dressing professionally is huge because we're trying to be viewed as, we want people to know that we are a healthcare profession and those other healthcare professions have a certain professional dress. So we're trying to let you know, like, hey, we are professional and we want to be viewed as that.
So you guys, this wraps up our parent stories for the day. If you guys remember a story, which a lot of times we get emails saying that, oh, this remind me of a story, go ahead and share it in our AT Corner Facebook group. And if you're not a part of it, you can head over to facebook.com/group/ATcornerpodcast. And then you can either make a new post or you can comment in our thread. We're actually just under 160 members in our group, and we're about to do a giveaway.
Ooh, nice.
So stay tuned for that. And then if you guys are new, we do every other episode as education and stories. So this was a story episode. Next episode is going to be education. So check our Instagram stories for upcoming story episodes, and you can DM us or email atcornerds@gmail.com to submit your own to be on the show. You got anything else to add, Randy?
Yes, and don't forget to share, rate, and review us. If you're listening to us on Apple Podcasts, we'd love to get a rating and a review. If you leave a review, we might just read it on the show.
And also just to add, ratings are just one tap. So if you don't have time to leave a review, that one tap of however many stars you want to leave us helps a ton in helping us get the word out and sharing our podcast as
and
well.
We hope it's 5 stars. We get really jazzed when we see that.
All right, Randy.
Thank you for helping us showcase athletic training behind the tape. Bye.